He shaped the sound of a generation without ever becoming its poster boy, choosing instead to live behind the glass, where the real soul of the music was built. While others stood in the spotlight, Benny Andersson quietly carried the emotional weight of ABBA, guiding the band through meteoric rise, private unraveling, and eventual rebirth. Born on December 16, 1946, in Stockholm's working-class Västern district, Benny was raised in a home where music was tradition rather than ambition, first learning accordion from his grandfather before teaching himself piano by ear, absorbing everything from Bach structure to Swedish folk melancholy. Even as a child, he wasn't drawn to applause but to understanding how music worked, and by his teens he was already known for emotional sensitivity rather than showmanship. At 18, he joined the Hep Stars, helping transform them into Sweden's biggest rock act while quietly becoming the band's musical architect, sharpening his songwriting, arrangement, and studio instincts. Everything changed in 1966 when he met Björn Ulvaeus, whose lyrical wit perfectly balanced Benny's emotional composition, forming a partnership that would become legendary. Joined later by Agnetha Faltskog and Frida Lyngstad, the group, eventually renamed ABBA, exploded onto the world stage after winning Eurovision in 1974 with Waterloo. While the glitter, jumpsuits, and hooks defined their image, it was Benny who sculpted their deeper resonance, layering harmonies, experimenting with synthesizers, and embedding Swedish melancholy beneath joyful melodies, creating songs that sounded happy but felt heavy, timeless rather than trendy. As ABBA conquered the world, however, the band quietly began to fracture, with personal relationships collapsing under the weight of fame, perfectionism, and emotional neglect. Björn and Agnetha divorced in 1979, followed by Benny and Frida in 1981, after Benny admitted falling in love with another woman, leaving scars that seeped into their final work. Albums like The Visitors sounded colder, more introspective, reflecting exhaustion rather than ambition, and in 1982 ABBA simply disappeared. No farewell tour, no dramatic breakup, only silence. 4 decades, fans speculated, until Benny finally spoke in late 2024, admitting plainly that they were exhausted, emotionally depleted, and unable to continue honestly. In a 2025 interview, he described their final years as uninspired workdays, where music felt like obligation instead of passion, confirming that ABBA didn't collapse from scandal but from quiet emotional burnout. Meanwhile, Frida's life took an unexpected turn into royalty and profound grief after the death of her daughter in 1998, a loss that brought Benny back into her life not as a collaborator, but as someone who understood her pain without words. In 2018, ABBA reunited to record new music, culminating in ABBA Voyage, a groundbreaking digital concert experience that allowed them to return without chasing the past, redefining performance on their own terms. Now in his late 70s, Benny has finally admitted that music was his refuge, his way of expressing emotions he couldn't speak aloud, once saying he gave his best lines to songs instead of the people who needed to hear them. That confession reframes ABBA not as a flawless pop machine, but as 4 fragile humans surviving through sound, their songs enduring precisely because they were never fantasies, but honest reflections of love, loss, and emotional restraint. And after all these years, the quiet man at the piano has finally let us hear the truth behind the music.